What is up, everyone? I'm Carla, and in this week's tutorial we are going to be going through all of the essential tools and pieces of equipment that you need to get started with sugar flowers, and indeed to continue with the art form once you've already gone through the beginner stages. There are so many different gadgets and veiners and cutters and all kinds of tools out there for you to spend your money on. Most of them are not at all essential, especially if you're starting out. We have been making sugar flowers for more than a decade here at Crumb, so we like to think that we've got a reasonably good idea of things that you will need to start with and things that will continue to serve you as you grow in this art form and develop your skills. We're gonna get started right now. First of all, a mat of some kind to protect your workspace will be useful. This is the trusty cell board, which creates grooves or channels in the paste as you roll it out. Those grooves are then where you would insert the wire when creating a wired petal or leaf. A foam pad is perfect for using in conjunction with your modeling tools, like a ball tool for softening petals. There's a variation of the foam pad which has holes in it if you're going to be using the Mexican hat method to make flowers. You may want to get a pasta attachment for your KitchenAid to roll out your paste and save your wrists, but a simple rolling pin is just perfect. Water or edible glue or egg whites for sticking things together. I use a water brush for certain tasks for ease. Cornstarch is a must-have for keeping your paste from sticking to your tools. And along with cornstarch, you'll want to keep some shortening nearby for the reasons listed here. I prefer metal ball tools with wooden handles. They're more ergonomic and they have a bit of weight, which helps to smooth out the petals. The Dresden tool is one of my favorites. It's a multi-purpose tool, truly. It has a broad end and a pointy end that you can use for curling back your petal edges or adding veins and other textures. These are variations of the Dresden tool made by several different companies, and they all do the same thing. CelSticks can be used as mini rolling pins and to open up the centers of certain flowers and blossoms like jasmine and stephanotis. A blade tool is optional, but I typically use it for marking lines down the sides of flower buds. And a very useful tool is this veining stick, otherwise known as a silk veining tool. I use the little scoop on the end to portion out my petal dusts. You'll need a pair of wire cutters to cut your wire, as well as a pair of needle nose pliers. These happen to have a wire cutter built in. A pair of fine scissors is useful when making things like magnolia centers that require snipping into the paste. An X-acto knife and a cutting wheel if you want to cut out freehand petal or leaf shapes. And of course, paintbrushes are a must-have. I always keep a couple of pins handy to pop any air bubbles in my gum paste as I'm rolling it out. Speaking of gum paste, there's a recipe in the description box below for making your own. You will want to keep it well wrapped away from air and in an airtight container when you are not using it. Likewise, a Ziploc bag to store petals that aren't being worked on, and a cup to cover any gum paste that's out on your workbench to keep it away from air. These are polystyrene rose cones and styrofoam balls that are extremely useful when you're making more lightweight centers for certain flowers. Commercial stamens are useful for flowers like peonies or briar roses shown here that have little yellow or other colors of stamens. They are much quicker to buy than to try to make yourself. Cotton thread can be used to make centers such as Cosmos centers, shown here, which you can dip into edible pollen, which is a mixture of gelatin granules and petal dust. You can buy pre-made pollen or make your own. This is just plain gelatin, which you can dye in all kinds of colors with your edible powders. This is a multi-purpose flower center mold for dahlias, sunflowers, daisies, chrysanthemums, things like that. Here's just one example of the centers you can make with that multi-purpose flower mold. When starting out with cutters, you'll want a basic teardrop or rose petal set like this one, which can make all kinds of different flowers, and a basic leaf shape set, which as a bonus you can use to make succulents. You can buy plastic cutters or metal cutters, as well as all-in-one cutters, such as these ones. These are 5-petal or all-in-one rose cutters that you may find useful. In general, at Honeycomb, we prefer metal cutters because they give you nice clean cuts and they're very durable, so they last a long time. They also have guards like that one that help keep their shape. They can also be fairly detailed, such as this one, which is a Lisianthus calyx cutter. But a good quality plastic cutter will also do just fine. You really only need 3 veiners to start out with. My favorite is an all-purpose petal or dahlia veiner that's very textured, such as this one, which is fantastic. And of course, a simple rose petal veiner. And the rose leaf veiner, the only one you need to start out with. Bonus veiners usually include all of the very particular species of flowers that you might love, including poppies, or things like this set, which is a fruit blossom veiner and has notches that help you line it up. This is how we store and alphabetize all of our cutters and veiners at the bakery. However, a slightly simpler trick is to grab a bunch of Ziploc bags and label them, and then use them to store your cutters and veiners for each particular flower that you like to make. You can then use a shoebox or a craft box and stow them away. And the subject of wires. This is paper-covered wire. And this is cloth-covered wire. Both are used in sugar flower making as it gives the paste something to grip to. This particular wire is 20 gauge, so it's quite thick and it doesn't bend very easily, as you can see here. This wire is 26 gauge and it does bend very easily, as you can see. So in general, the higher the number, the thinner the wire. So 28 gauge wire is a lot thinner and a lot bendier than 18 gauge wire. For what it's worth, we love the CK products and the Sunrise brands of paper covered floral wire, and I tend to keep all of my offcuts in a shallow tray. But at some point I was lucky enough to buy wires that already came in these little cardboard tubes that were marked with the gauges, and those are fantastic if you can get them. Floral tape is also an essential part of your toolkit. We use floral tape for all kinds of assembly, and top tip, you need to stretch your floral tape to activate the glue. In terms of drying and shaping your petals, you'll want to get hold of some acoustic foam or bumpy foam, which is our favorite cradle when drying petals in a curved shape or giving movement to leaves. You can also get fruit trays or apple trays from your grocery store. These half-sphere silicone molds are wonderful if you're drying petals that are very curved or cupped, as are these chocolate egg molds, which I particularly like for drying orchid petals, as you see here. You can make your own flower former with some foil and a simple drinking glass. But you can, of course, buy the professional grade Styrofoam flower formers to hold your flowers as they dry. We like to use these wire hanging racks for any small flowers that need to dry upside down, like the hydrangeas there in the middle. And you'll want to have a Styrofoam cake dummy for flowers that are in process or that are finished. You'll want a simple paint palette and vodka for making edible paints. You'll want lemon extract if you don't want to use vodka or can't get hold of it. And you'll also, of course, need edible gel colors. We like Americolor, and Wilton is also great. I particularly love their moss green. They come in different sizes, like these little bottles and a medium size that we prefer. Petal dust will commonly say not to be consumed or non-toxic on the label, and that's because these are pigments that are not rated for use on things that will go directly on a cake that somebody will eat. So typically petal dust is for things that will be removed from the cake before serving. On the other hand, you can buy powdered pigments that are completely edible, like these ones from Crystal Colors, which are beautiful and usually very saturated. They also come in pearlized variants, such as this one, which is the copper, and it's really beautiful. I like to make my own custom petal dust blends and then store them in little plastic containers like these. You will also want to get a camera lens blower to blow any excess dust off your flowers without actually having to blow on them, just for hygienic reasons. I find makeup brushes are ideal for adding petal dust to your petals or leaves, as they're quite soft and quite dense. You'll also want some kind of edging brush just for highlighting the edges of your petals, and potentially also a fine paintbrush if you're adding painted accents. You may need to store your flowers once they've been made and before they go onto a cake. We like to use these big airtight bins lined with crinkle paper or packing peanuts just to cushion the flowers so they can nestle among each other and not smash into each other and suffer any unnecessary breakage. And you may optionally want to have some flower spikes or flower picks when inserting flowers into your cakes. And here's a wrap up for you of the essential tools and equipment that we went over in this video, as well as the essential supplies that you'll want to have at hand when you make your sugar flowers. You'll also find here a list of the bonus items that are not essential but are nice to have. Of course, the only thing left to do with your lovely tools and equipment is to make some flowers. Stay tuned to our channel, and we'll be posting new sugar flower tutorials and baking tutorials every week. Thank you so much for watching. Please give us a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to our channel so that we can keep making more sugar flower and cake baking and cake decorating videos for you. You can check out the description box below for more details about where we got all of our favorite tools and supplies, and a link to our favorite Gumpaste recipe. And we look forward to catching you in the next video. Cheers!